tí đã trongแต่ฉันเอาย่อตัดต่อย่อชามองเป็ดย่อย่อเราเป็นกรีกลาสกันแล้วนะจงก็เตียหรือนู้นเจจะมีอยู่ตัวชิตือดินเป้ดูนะlời nhau nó này lời ta tỏ sáng tờ để thì bao mù đó là sĩ hại này cho nó tỏ nhau nó sáng tờ hết nhau bao nó trong một nó sáng tờ này mình cũng cho mình nhiều lời ba này lúc school này going là sáng tờ hai một nó sáng tới sau thế giờ là sao đây là dùng hai thế yên thì là chủ sau đây nó ta thì làm mà là đầu nó ta thì là chủ tàu chữ đó nó cá tông đầu lớn nè rồi nó thì là do pi nè do pi thì là sau cho nên nó nhỏ của nó là do xịt thả
perhaps most important announcement is where the tournament is going to happen. So you obviously made it here, and that's great. Congratulations. This is going to be our tournament headquarters for the day. This lobby space, as well as the room 101, which is our large lecture hall, as well as the second and third floors, all have public gathering spaces. You're welcome to any of them to hang out during the day. For lunch, we'll be serving down here on the main floor of the lobby, but that doesn't mean you have to stay down here all day. I'll be making all announcements for the tournament from this very place right here. In addition to using this building for competition rooms, which by the way, there will be rooms on the second and third floor of this building that we're using, we're also going to be using some buildings near this building. So there are several: Allied Health Sciences, the Eugene Short Building, the Sally Monsterd Building, the Beatrice McDonald Building. I think that's all of them. But here are things you can do to help you find your way to those rooms more quickly.
That's not a like up a shy hay là you must do hông tư hay what?
Lost my pen.
That's a beautiful pen. Là you must shy hay là you must tư khó tư thế là you must tư sĩ hại cho giá trị à thì là bài toán nó must shy đây của tôi sai nữa của tôi sai cho tôi đã tỏ tàu kế nó must shy sẽ là you must sĩ hại nhớ đâu không từ thế khó từ tụi nó tụi cho nè
There is a campus map, a fixed campus map. It's actually right over here. You wave your hand, you're standing right by it. Right over there by those two gentlemen, there's a campus map. If you would like to check the building that corresponds to where you're going to start.
So Lake's right here. He's going against. What's he going against? What's that school?
must be from like Fairbank or Juneau.
I don't know that school, but I don't know where. What's the other Clark?
Single-use plastic.
I jinxed it! I jinxed
Yeah, wrong preparations.
Using oil and gas, which are limited resources and contribute to climate change when burned. These items are often used just once before getting discarded, which creates waste and cause excessive and unnecessary strain on the environment. Another article I read from Environment America said, single-use plastic are wasteful and harmful to both environment and our health. Sea turtles, fish, birds, and marine mammals often mistake plastic as food, and they make up a large portion of hundreds and thousands of pounds of trash. I want you all to think of the last time you were at the beach. What was the number one thing you noticed about it? Was there trash? Was it clean? Now think of the streets. Was there trash or was it clean? Now we can put a stop to this if we all do our part. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Holly Laddie, and I am here today to support the off side. So first, our points. Our first point is sanitation, second point is long-term solution, and third point is expensive to replace. And now going into more detail. Our first point, sanitation, is a key part of life, as we use it to stay alive. In reality, we can't get rid of it and still expect to have everything we need. Single-use plastics help food to stay fresh for longer, the medical field, hotels, and restaurants, and many other things. Food often, or more than 50% of food in one's household gets thrown away only because of the look, because it doesn't look as fresh as when it was first bought. Plastic packs keep it looking fresher for longer and nearly triples the time of vegetables staying fresh. 62% of humanity lives paycheck to paycheck, and so that would only be making this easier for the 38%. Is that fair? And yes, my team is acknowledging that the harm of plastics, but there will be more harm if we ban single-use plastics. We need to look at the bigger picture, being we must also think of our futures as well as our Earth's.
Hi, my name is Lila Porter, and I'm on the opposition side for the motion that single-use plastics should be banned. First of all, I'm going to go over our points. Sanitation is very important. It's not a long-term solution, and not feasible. Okay, starting off with our first point. Sanitation is very important in life because we use it to be able to stay safe and alive. First off, we use it a ton in the medical field, such as surgical gloves, syringes, IV drip bags, and so much more. If we are reusing these items, that's going to be cross-contamination, leading to unsanitation and infections. Single-use plastic is also imperative for the sanitation in food services, grocery stores, and restaurants. It has been proven that produce wrapped in plastic can last almost 2 weeks longer than without. For our second point, it's not a long-term solution. Well, my teammate just mentioned biodegradable. I will mention another way. While our team does realize the issue of single-use plastics, banning is not what we need right now. At the moment, we need a long-term solution, such as better investing in more recycling resources. So why make this adverse change if it's not going to be effective? This easily proves how the motion of banning plastics is simply not feasible in any way, shape, or form. To our last point, we need to be keeping our low-income families in mind when we think of this. If we transition to having things such as food, for example, be sold in things like glass, wood, metal, or cloth, it will spike up prices. This doesn't only apply to food either. This will making necessities to live unattainable. This means poverty rates increasing and more people being in a state of hunger, poverty, or even extreme cases, homelessness. If we ban plastic, people will be dying not only because of lack of sanitation, but also from lack of being able to afford food and dying of starvation.
First, I will be restating our points. Our first point is single-use plastics help with sanitation. Single-use plastics are a huge part of the medical field. People would be dying if we did not have single-use plastics in the medical field. For example, needles, like we cannot use multiple needles on people. IV bags cannot be reused, and if we made them of glass, they could easily break. And just stuff like that. Next, single-use plastics also help keep food last longer. As my previous teammate Lila stated, and Holly as well, food has been scientifically studied to last days longer, over a week longer, because it has been wrapped in plastic. This will make our food last longer, and it will conserve our resources. Also, restaurants and hotels need single-use plastics, such as gloves and the little soaps in hotels and stuff, because they don't want to reuse them. Okay, moving on to our second point. Single-use plastics are not a long-term solution. My previous teammates have stated that there are other options, such as biodegradable plastic that will degrade in a lot less time than regular plastic. The last point is single-use plastics are expensive to replace. We aren't saying we should take the cheaper route and just ban single-use plastics for ease, but single-use plastics are vital for humanity. We need them in the medical field, we need them in restaurants, we need them in hotels, we use them in our every single day lives. And as our opponents have stated, they have told us that single-use plastics are harming animals, but they haven't elaborated how exactly single-use plastics are harming our animals. And that is why we hold more weight in this debate. Also, I would like to ask you guys, what is your definition of non-renewable resources? That's all I have. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lake John. Hi, my name is Lake John. Strongly for the motion of why single-use plastic should be banned. First, I'll start by backing up what my teammate has said. Lucian was talking about climate change. Climate change is plays a big role in this, because plastic pollution can alter habitats and natural processes, reducing ecosystems' ability to adapt to climate change, directly affecting millions of people's livelihood, food production capabilities, and social well-being. He's also talking about how plastic can harm animals, and the opposing team was talking about what we were talking about harming animals. Well, they are harming the animals because the plastic takes about millions of years to just decompose, and when they decompose, they turn into microplastic. Those microplastics could get inside of animals and harm them, and they can be inside of us too, they could cause lots of chemicals can also be in plastics. These chemicals can make you have an imbalance in hormones, reproductive issues, and it can even cause cancers. And the first speaker of the opposition side was talking about biodegradable plastic. Well, aren't those biodegradable plastics using the same resources as single-use plastics? And the opposing side was talking about conserving. How they could conserve resources? How can they conserve resources if
we are using lots of resources just to make single-use plastics. And yeah, they were talking about we use lots of resources to make single-use plastics, like what my first speaker was talking about. He was talking about oil. Oil is a limited resources, and we won't have oil forever. The opposing side was talking about what the definition of non-renewable means. That means it can be reused again. Thank you. My name is Lake Zhang.
我在古晒啊，古都来八百里贝打的是那个晒古顿菜的，古晒古顿菜来八百里贝晒了哈，用我讲呢，但是呢，到白到了红，古顿菜的那个奥的朋友，红了红为了有哎呀，西tử呢，thì của chồng mình tạo nhau là nó cái tuần sai thế là nếu ở tù cũng như ta tạo nhau là nó là chỉ là tạo sau sẽ là dùng một hai gia này.
They release methane into the air and they kill marine animals. Why haven't we banned them? I am on the propositive side of this debate today, and I'm going to convince you that single-use plastic should be banned for the good of all of us. Our frame is about the environment, and our model is that we will provide a 10-year grace period to stop using all single-use plastics. This will function in a similar way to the EU ban that's happening right now. And I will go over a definition. A microplastic is a synthetic polymer compound that forms when large plastic materials are fragmented and micronized to a size of less than or equal to 5 millimeters. I'm going to begin my first claim now, and it is that single-use plastic directly harms the health of humans. David Attenborough, an extremely famous British biologist and broadcaster, says that 1 million human deaths are linked to plastics each year. 1 million human deaths. Do you see how harmful these plastics are to people? And according to Plastic Oceans International, 50% of these harmful plastics are single-use. If we ban single-use plastic, we will reduce these deaths drastically. These people matter. Tiny microplastics end up in human bodies and harm wildlife. Do you really want to be responsible for all this harm to our atmosphere, our oceans, and our Earth? Just because we don't see the mountain high trash piling up in landfills or the thousands of marine animals dying from plastic, it doesn't mean that it isn't happening. Thank you.
I'd first like to go into the refutation of what the first speaker said about how it can kill and releases gases. Cars do the same thing, but we still keep them. And this, we're starting a ban on cars, which I'd like to go into my first point about how plastic is convenient in everyday life. Doctors who work in hospitals use single-use plastic for IV bags because if they had to reuse an IV bag, that would cause cross-contamination, and it would leave hospitals with most likely lawsuits because of the how they are causing diseases under their patients. Doctors also use single-use plastic needles because using a glass one instead would make it break more easily. And yes.
Bioplastics and medical grade paper would be able to replace these because the only reason they don't use these right now is because they cost slightly more, and a ban is the only way to make them switch.
But and then I'd like to go into my second point about the economy. Like the person that just did the POI now said that they cost more money. I was going to say that if we finding renewable sources would make it more it would spend more time and money creating them instead of just keeping the more convenient sources instead. And if we took single-use plastic out now, it would lead us to go into an economical recession because a lot of businesses use single-use plastic in their every single day life they're in a company, it could cause them to have to wait for a new replacement, such as the more time to manufacture and more money costing renewable source that the other team talks about. And it would also require a lot, and a lot of businesses require their workers to wear like single-use plastic gloves. So like, if we took this away from them like so early, they would have to wait, and their businesses would probably like go down, and this would end up affecting the economy more than it would be benefiting it. I'd like to go into my third point about safety. A lot of grocery stores use single-use plastic wrap to protect their meat, and it allows them to be preserved. If we switched to if we switched to something else, or if we banned single-use plastic, what would they use? Would they have us wrap our food in a paper bag, which would most likely make our food more susceptible to diseases, and this would cause us to get sick and yes?
Butcher's paper is frequently used in the food industry and it's just as safe.
I'd also like to cite from a source that the DMA-NY government says that you should wrap your food in plastic because it prevents cross-contamination, which would allow it to not be as susceptible to cross-contamination, as I said before. And it would probably be more better than butcher's paper because butcher's paper takes longer to manufacture, and it would probably cost more than the convenient single-use plastic. But this is all I have for the debate. And
the rate that plastic production is going at is going to cripple our environment and animals living in it, and humans living in it. We need to act now or face dire consequences. I'd like to first go over a few rebuttals. The first opposition speaker mentioned how cars have similar environmental impact as single-use plastics, but cars are far more necessary to society than single-use plastics. That's also just not what this debate is about. As well as this, they talk a lot about how alternatives can potentially be worse for the environment and medical field. So I'd like to talk about the medical field first. So things like bioplastics already are used very commonly in the medical field. They are very often used to be inserted into people's bodies in medical transplants. So there's absolutely no reason that we cannot use them for the other things that they talked about. At some point, our resources to produce these plastics will run out. We will run out of these oils. We will be forced to stop plastic production. It is far better to do that now and discover innovation.
How would we be able to start production of more reliable or reusable packaging if we run out of these greenhouse gases, these fossil fuels being used for single-use plastic?
I think what you mean by that is, I don't entirely understand why, but essentially what I'm saying with this claim is that with single-use plastics, we're going to run out of materials that we need to create them eventually, and we already have the technology that we need to replace them now, and a ban will only further this technology. Therefore, this is the right time to do this. We cannot do this 20, 25, 50 years in the future because it is necessary now.
The most important things in everyone's daily life. And I know the opponents on the propositional side saying that we should ban plastic has used multiple single-use in their lives, and there are many things harming our planet Earth right now. Metal and glass are just as harmful as plastic, and should we ban that too? So I would like to state our three main points. Convenience, everyday life, and banning single-use plastic can be worse for us and not better. And also safety. Starting with our first main argument, plastic is a necessity in everyone's everyday lives, like plastic wrap, trash bags. Your food will not mold in plastic, or bugs cannot enter through little cardboard boxes or paper bags or whatever. And they said about water bottles being harmful to us, but there's reusable water bottles, an alternative right there. Banning single use can affect world businesses and general businesses or even small businesses, which I will continue into my second main argument, that many companies use single use to package their items. And they purchase plastic bags other than paper because it is cheaper. And if we ban plastic, it will affect our businesses, our companies, and the economy. On to my third main point, which is safety. And earlier my opponent said that single-use plastic is harmful to the living. Well,
Plastic is actually saving lives, especially in the medical field. And the IV bags, the syringe, single-use plastic is keeping these, these tools safe and sealed. If we didn't have single-use plastic, dividing these tools will be contaminating and affecting our patients. They say that, They say that paper was used in the store industry and it was just as safe. Is it safe though? Where did paper come from? Trees, and cutting down trees can cause global warming, and producing paper bags and everything is also manufacturing with greenhouse gases. And that doesn't sound safe for us, and that's just as much damage as single use.
You living in a world where single-use plastic is your everyday life. You're living day to day, drinking out of water bottles, eating food that's safe. And one day, someone is trying to take it away from you just for these causes that aren't as important as stuff that's going on today. Hi, I am the final summary speaker of the opposition side of the motion, should single-use plastic be banned. To start off, I'd like to start off with some rebuttals towards the first proposition speaker. It was said that that single-use plastic directly impacts human death and is one of the major causes for that. Actually, there are a lot of major causes for human death. That being some being schooling, some being cars and payments on some stuff that they need to get done. But this would be impacted by the change of the material we use because prices would rise, further impacting these day-to-day lives in which we need these cheaper resources to get by. As many people, at least 50% of the United States, has to live paycheck to paycheck. Everything is bad. Everything comes with a second side, and I think it's important that we see it from a bigger picture. And I'd also like to mention how they suggested it's destroying the environment. Everything destroys the environment. Single-use plastic isn't one of the most significant things that cause this. And they mentioned marine life as being heavily affected by this, of over 1 million marine life animals being killed. But this isn't directly single-use plastic. There are other things being emitted into the ocean that are furthermore expanding these various subjects. And in my first speaker's speech, there was a POI mentioning that medical grade papers can replace IV bags and other things. But I'd actually like to mention that there are over 34 pounds of medical waste daily for each hospital. And how many hospitals do we have? And how many hospitals are being used daily? Ever since the COVID-19 pandemic, there has been a rise in hospital use and the economy. Furthermore, we cannot afford this slightly more expensive, as they mentioned. Going back to the economic recession points, many people thrive off of, I thank the judge, audience, and that will conclude my speech.
Program. 150 million tons of single-use plastic are disposed of yearly. That's almost half the weight of the human population. I'd like to start with some rebuttals. First of all, your first speaker said that other alternatives take more time to manufacture, but this actually isn't true, so the time isn't an issue and these are just as convenient. And I'll also talk about that later on, so that would refute all of your claims about how we don't have alternatives and how they'll be more expensive. So you bring up the point of the economy and the way that we can't replace single-use plastic. However, whenever we innovate something new, like bioplastics, that replaces the next thing, right? Cars, it replaces trains, and while that might have a slight effect on the economy, it does benefit people in the future because innovation is a child of necessity. So a full ban is the only way to change human behavior and stops us from consuming things that are harming our health, and we don't have excuses anymore. Thank you.
Tà ơi, biết bài chế ơi, là chỉ riêng biết bài chế ơi. 太多了也会折呀，的是。